Hi everyone! I wanted to check in before I head to a holiday party in about an hour from now. So today's episode is all about getting clear on my ideal life partner. And I also want to give you kind of a little update from something that happened to me that was kind of intriguing after I was doing a bunch of manifesting yesterday, and I shared that episode with you about falling to pieces. So we'll have a little update on that. All right, so why are we doing this episode on getting clear on the ideal life partner? If I'm perfectly honest with you, if you ask me today why I want to find a life partner, the answer is kind of unclear to me still. I mean, there is part that is clear. I would like to raise children and have a family, I think. That's always been something that's really important to me. I would love to have the sensuality of having a partner, but within a committed relationship to avoid that anxiety. And I think that I really want to experience having that warm, supportive male presence in my life. So anyway, whenever I go and look, I'm doing, I have this whole playlist I made for you about manifesting, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I've already read a ton of books about finding a life partner. And there's a common theme in all of them is that they say, get really clear and specific on exactly what you want. Now, for some who are more in the therapy realm, this is focused kind of on what are your main values in terms of honesty, integrity, kindness, what style of communication you have. And then there are other things that are more deal breakers, like you don't want someone who smokes, you don't want someone who drinks, you don't want someone who watches TV all the time. Those are all things I could not live with. When you actually start seeing the list of all the things that can go wrong, you start to understand why the pool feels a little bit limited. So anyway, for example, here, I really cannot stand smoking, and a lot of Croatian men still smoke. So that's really narrows the pool. I don't want to date someone who is non-monogamous. That also narrows the pool. Things that I wouldn't even think are an issue are an issue. And then they also encourage you to think about patterns that your parents had. So for instance, my father wasn't there when I was growing up. He left before I was born. And so that can tend, sometimes I think I fantasize about unavailable people just because that's a pattern from my childhood, but I try not to get too into that. So essentially, I kind of start getting really worried about this because especially, all right, when you go into the manifesting, the people who are really kind of thinking about the universe as this interconnected thing where you have power and you can shift things in your life, they start encouraging you to be super specific down to what color eyes he has. And that makes me kind of nervous because I feel like if I'm too specific, maybe someone who looks different than I expect will walk in and then I won't see him. I also think that maybe I might not think that he's so handsome in the beginning, but when I fall in love with him, I will think that he's handsome. But I know that I don't think that the people who are teaching manifesting are teaching you to be specific about what he looks like because they're just really superficial. I'm not really sure exactly why, but I think that there's this idea that if your mind is really, really clear on exactly what it wants, you can bring that to you. Now, the other reason that it's really good to get clear on your ideal partner and how you feel around your ideal partner is because you can recognize some things in yourself that need a little bit of development. So for example, one of the things I was thinking about as well, like I really hope my partner has a lot of money. And I thought, okay, well, I think that I could probably do a little better in learning how to earn more money and be more responsible with money. That type of thing. So, but I do feel like this is challenging, and it's also kind of annoying to me because I don't really know exactly what I want. And there's part of me, I have this deep, deep sense within myself that I want to find a partner. Now, if you were to flash backwards 20 years ago, it was a completely different situation. I was miserable and I was desperately feeling like if I could find a husband or a boyfriend, I would be happy. I absolutely don't feel like that anymore. I feel really happy, and I don't think that I'm not depending on someone else for my happiness. And I also know that that might bring in some new challenges. And so the sense of how I'll feel I don't know what it is, and I don't know what I'm looking for. And part of me, especially when I start dating and it's just so brutal, part of me feels like I don't even want this anyway. I'm fine on my own. But then I start just like, I feel like there's this really deep part of myself that is longing for that, like this voice. And I don't know, I don't think that this voice just feels incomplete. I think this voice is trying to tell me something. And I know for sure that whenever I go into this path, I start growing a lot as a human being. Anyway, so getting clear on the ideal partner. To help me get clear on the ideal partner, I actually went back to my friend ChatGPT and I made this prompt. I've been listening to quite a few podcasts about finding a life partner, and one thing I've noticed in common is they all encourage you to get crystal clear on what you're looking for in a life partner. Some go the angle of, here are the characteristics you should be looking for. Some have more, like they tell you, like there was one that says you should look for someone who has integrity, who's free, like available, not in a relationship. Some go the angle of like what are the values, characteristics, deal breakers, how do you feel? Some people tell you to look at the traits of your parents or past relationships, and especially the manifestations encourage you to go really, really clear on even how they look, which I feel weird about, I'm not sure about. But I just have always found this really challenging, and I feel like when I'm listening to a guided meditation and they're saying, how does your partner look? Imagine them coming towards you. It feels like I'm pushing away from myself. It's not an image I'm receiving, and it feels very tense. And so basically, this is what I told ChatGPT. I said, here's what I'd like you to do. Do a deep dive on the most popular dating books, podcasts, YouTube channels, coaches that skew towards being geared towards women looking for a husband. Go wide with a large variety. From there, I'd like you to try to find 10 to 15 links to worksheets provided to identify your ideal partner, and then I'd like you to put all the research you've done together and create a worksheet for me to do to get crystal clear on my ideal husband that can serve every aspect of dating, from the practical vetting and swiping on apps to planning events to attract him, to what types of places to go, to the spiritual manifesting I'm trying to do to bring in my husband. Because to be fair, I don't really know what I'm looking for, how I want to feel, and I want to get clear. Also, I want to get clear on the next step on how to think about how to become that. So I feel like if I have a really clear idea of my ideal partner, and that will give me information about how I need to change and grow as a person. So yeah, so I asked ChatGPT, is the pain point clear, and is the project to solve my pain point clear? So it actually took 35 minutes to put all of this information together, and it came up with a very, very large range of suggestions. It brought in just Lori Gottlieb, Matt Hussey, Julie Gottman, Logan Ury, even Mark Katz, on and on. There's so many people who are talking about this stuff. Then it gave me a ton of worksheets. I'll just post this whole thing in the description for this podcast if you're interested. So I felt like this was a little bit overwhelming for me. And so I asked it to distill this down to 20 questions. So instead of saying 20 questions that I could answer in one sentence. And I thought we could do them together here. And then afterwards, I'm going to read you. Yesterday, I started feeling some more clarity and flow in terms of what I wanted. After I just told you, it's so funny. I told you I have no idea what I want, and then I told you all these things that I want. I feel like as a person, I have a really intense FOMO. And so I've read in certain manifestations, like they say, don't say I want a husband because then you might bring someone in who's married to somebody else. And so that just makes me feel like really freaking out. Like, what if I manifest the wrong thing and I get the wrong guy? And yeah. So, okay. I'm trying to figure in my best update. Okay, I think this is a good time for my update from yesterday. It's about a guy, and I really hope he is not listening to this podcast. And if he is, well, then hopefully he'll take it as a compliment. So essentially, yesterday, if you watched yesterday's episode, I was kind of starting to unravel. I've been doing manifesting all day. I wrote out my essay about what I'm looking for in a life partner. And actually, it was helpful because it was very clear to me when I wrote these things that that was not what the last two people I dated were like at all. And so I know if I'd really applied that framework to dating them and been committed to it, I would not have pursued that. So anyway, I did this whole episode, and I'm very interested and curious about signs. And then this whole thing about sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit off the mark with manifesting. I'll do some really intense meditation and then something will come my way, but it'll be slightly off. And I think this was one of those instances. So immediately after I stopped recording, I got a text message, might have been right before or right after, from someone I had kind of run into in the startup world who was kind of a mentor to me 5 to 10 years ago. And I remember thinking at the time, I think I went every now and then I renew this quest for partnership effort. And I had in the past, I think even written his name down as someone who has a lot of the qualities that I would look for in a life partner. Kind, I think he genuinely respects me. He cares about social justice, is also financially successful. I think adept at business and raising money in ways that I struggle with, and just really warm and sweet. And so masculine in the way that I like, and that's not for everyone, but it's good for me. So, and I went on a ski retreat with the same people invested in both our companies, and we had just had a really nice interaction there when we met in person. So anyway, I got a text from him asking me if I was in Belgrade. Now, the funny thing about this is I'm not in Belgrade, I'm in Split. And it was just so funny to hear from him. And the reason that he thought I was in Belgrade, it turns out, is because when I was traveling around this summer, I was trying to suss out which were the best cities for me to date. I had this whole master plan. I did all of this analysis of ChatGPT about which are the European cities that have attractive men available who have, where would be a place that I might want to live. So I kept changing my hinge. I went Rome, Barcelona, Lisbon, and I would just kind of swipe and see who is there. Milan. By the way, if you want to travel to a city to date men, there are a lot of men in Milan, although dating Italian men definitely has its disadvantages, I will say. But anyway, he asked me if I was in Belgrade, and so I realized I had actually had my hinge set to Belgrade, and he's going to Belgrade to celebrate New Year's. He lives in San Francisco, and he asked if I was there. And then he said, hey, yeah, I saw you on Hinge, and I did a double take because he knows me from the New York and San Francisco tech scene. So anyway, we had a nice exchange, and I did say, hey, you should come to Split. And he asked if I'd ever been to Belgrade. So yeah, so it felt kind of like a near miss. And then afterwards, when I was walking on the Marion Trail this morning, I started feeling like, is there something I should do? I made this commitment to meeting people. Should I just take a plane to Belgrade? But I've been really looking forward to New Year's in Split, and there's something about, being and doing what I want to do, where I want to do it. And it felt like just a little too much effort, is it normal to ask him to come? And then I kind of wanted to continue texting, but it felt like I don't want to get rejected. And then I remembered kind of what a huge degree of emotional immaturity I'm bringing to this for someone in their 40s. That if you like someone and they're available, you could just go on a date with them and ask them that. So it's confusing, right? I don't want to be the overgiver, the chaser. And I feel like this could unfold more easily. I'm not sure. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what to say more about that, except it was an interesting thing. And so then what I ended up doing is just praying for clarity and trusting that whatever I did would be the right choice. And so that's where I am with that. If you want to sprinkle in a little advice, that's fine. But it did seem like a sign that I was maybe getting a little bit closer. The other funny thing that's been happening right now is that 2 of the young people that I've mentored in the past, a child and a young woman, have both reached out for me for support this week. One of them, her relationship is in a really challenging place, and I've been the person that she's coming to move through that and giving her encouragement about the possibility of finding love. So I have this reflection of a really challenging relationship while I'm looking for a good one. And I guess what's clear in all of this is that finding, anybody can find a relationship, and I think that I've been really seeking a good one, a great one. And I know there are the number of people who are in amazing relationships is not massive. And so it's an important distinction. If I care about this, I want to bring in someone really great. It's not just about being married, although I do want to have children. So I also think that people like my mom who had a child on her own, people I know who had children and then got divorced, they're also happy to have their children. And, I always wanted children, but at a certain point, I'm also moving into a different stage of my life where just having kids, getting married just for the sake of having kids, it doesn't make sense quite so much in the same way. And I also do enjoy my freedom and my life. I would be so happy if I met someone we were just sure, and by a miracle I got pregnant and had a baby at 44. That would be like so incredible. And it does happen. That would be the best thing ever. I would be so, so happy. And also, this is my life, and I want to be happy about how my life unfolds and just do the best that I can one step at a time, be open to growth and grateful for what comes in. I have a spiritual teacher who always says, align yourself with the best possible outcome. All right, my loves, let's get clear on what we really want in our ideal partner, and hopefully we can get amazing clarity, because that's what I prayed for today. And that type of clarity will just bring him in. It will bring him in. He'll be here. Number one, and maybe you can answer these with me while I'm answering them. What do you want your marriage to feel like most days? Okay, I actually find this one really hard too. It feels kind of controlling. And the reason I'm actually doing something that doesn't necessarily resonate, finding the ideal partner, is because sometimes, have you ever been in the situation where you're giving a friend a piece of advice and that friend said like, oh, that technique's not for me. They're almost pushing it away. So when people give me advice that I have this tendency to push away, instead of more calm, no thanks, it's a sign to me that that might be where the work needs to happen. Like I'm having a little resistance to it. And so that's why I'm really trying to dive deep into this process of ideal partner and see where it takes me. What I want my marriage to feel like most days: calm, joyful, fun, playful, satisfied. I realize that part of what I want in marriage is just to resolve this mystery that's been with me since I was in my puberty, I guess, of wanting to find someone and not being able to. But I want that feeling of, okay, I resolved it. I resolved what was blocking me, and I solved the mystery, and here it is. Just feels gratifying. I want to feel grateful, energized, full, and sensual. Okay, number 2, describe your ideal ordinary week together in one sentence. Come on, ChatGPT, this is not a one sentence thing. Okay, ordinary week together, get up in the morning, go for a walk, do our things. I want to cook like a really beautiful meal to enjoy together. In the evening, we laugh, maybe make love. Apple Podcasts read this is an explicit show, so have to live up to that. And also sleep. We sleep really, really nicely together on the weekends. I really want to go on kind of little trips together, try new things. It'd be so cool if we went out to dinner once a week and went on spontaneous weekend trips. I think that I have a really good dynamic when my friends are a little more outgoing, and so they can kind of push me out of my comfort zone, and they really want someone to come along on that fun adventure. Write your one sentence intention for calling in your husband, your manifestation statement. I have no idea what to answer. My one sentence intention: come in to my home, my lovely man. What is that supposed to be? Maybe I should ask ChatGPT. How do I write a one sentence intention? I don't get it. Okay, we'll come back to that one. What 2 core values must consistently live by? Must he consistently live by? Kindness, integrity. I just cannot deal with a liar. 5, what are your top 3 non-negotiables in one sentence? I guess a non-negotiable, okay, so I think that's kind of similar. Well, he has to want marriage. We have to have a great sex life. Like, I was in a relationship before where my partner didn't want to have sex anymore, and it was just really bad. And I would say also kindness. I'm not someone who's very comfortable with criticism. I do like a fun argument, but but that he has to be kind to me and everyone around him. Health, I was supposed to pick 3. I hope I did that one correctly. Okay, what are your top 3 deal breakers? Lying, cheating, meanness. Easy. I mean, I want to add addiction. Yeah. What past pattern from you, your parents, or past relationships are you committed to ending in one sentence? Overgiving, so not having a reciprocal give and take. I would say, what are some other past patterns? Just I think that one thing I've gotten into in the past is trying to heal someone psychologically. My mom had a lot of trauma and spent a lot of time when I was young, feeling unhappy. And she even told me that sometimes if it weren't for me, she would want to kill herself. And as a way to express gratitude to me, but that gives me a kind of fear sometimes that people are always about to kill themselves. And I want to feel confident and safe in my partner's emotional health. And of course, we're there to love and support each other, but I'm not there as their mental health and nurse. And then I would just say like the avoidant thing kind of, and you know, my father wasn't there. My mom has struggled with work addiction. My mom is the most lovely person in the world. I'm going to have her on the show, and I think she's okay. She might be a little annoyed that I shared that, but too bad. And yeah, and so I want to, you know, I really want to break that cycle of addiction. And I think I don't really have any addictions, but there are certain things that I can get a little bit over. You know, when I start having a wine every single day of the week or 2 days a week, or then the other things that sometimes I just get way into work in a way that's unhealthy. Like I just come out of my pajamas, I go in this insane work overproduction mode. And so I want to work on that in myself as well. And okay, 8. In one sentence, what does emotionally available, consistent love look like in his behavior? Wow. I mean, the only way that I can really describe this, I do want someone who's very sweet and nurturing, and it's just very clear to me that I am a priority. You know, one of those guys who wife is first priority, even before kids or work. Not that he'll, you know, ignore his responsibilities, but that he's excited to put wife first. And, you know, what says hello when he comes in the door, picks up the phone if I really need him, listens and reflects what I say instead of just jumping to give advice, and really supports me. I think that I'm somebody who, and sometimes a little surprises here and there. I can be someone who's very hard on myself. So it's nice to have people in my life who uplift me, and that's what my best friends do. I care a lot about my personal growth, and so I need that in a relationship is the other person as uplifting and helping me be less critical of myself. But that's something I need to do as well. Okay, number 9, in one sentence, what does marriage-minded commitment look like in pace and actions? Oh my gosh, this one is too hard. Marriage-minded commitment. Okay, I kind of want him to know from day one. I mean, I know guys, they found their partner. Who was that? Stephen Colbert. The moment he saw his partner, he knew. And maybe it seems a little naive to say love at first sight. But I think that, you know, I even talked to a matchmaker. Apparently men have like 2 or 3 qualities they're looking for in a woman, and it's very clear when he sees her. And I kind of want my guy to have that about me and very quickly go to engagement, marriage, and, you know, and I think this is a guy who talks about, okay, my marriage is my first priority. This is something he's open with his friends about, he's proud of. Like I saw a waiter the other day and I said, oh, are you married? And he said, yes, I have a beautiful wife. Kind of answer I want from my husband. In one sentence, what is your stance on kids and parenting values? Oh my gosh. My whole other company is focused on children. And so this is a pretty big one for me. Definitely. I mean, I am an expert in US homeschooling. And so I definitely want to homeschool my children. And by homeschool, I mean that they are learning in the world. I have 20 years of teaching experience, so it's not difficult for me to teach them. But, you know, actually when for manifesting, but when I'm married, I really would actually love to not work and raise the children, or focus more on this kind of content production and my YouTube channel. I think that children should have a lot of freedom and autonomy, but I also think it's important that children experience natural consequences. So you are loving and kind, but sometimes loving means saying no. That is something I could go on forever about. But you know, and who knows, he might already have children. I really don't think that kids should be we should be using screens as a form of entertainment. I think that we should be using screens with children. It's a lot. It's a lot of views on child-centered education that is to bring to this relationship. So hopefully he'll also have space to bring in him. I mean, one thing I love about Croatia is the men are so nurturing with their children. They're just always walking around, kissing their kids, hugging them, holding them. You can tell they just love their children so much. Wow, that's a really hard question to answer in one sentence. Let me try again. My stance on parenting and kids is that parents need to be present with their children, really spend time together, bring unconditional love and positive regard, allow children to play in nature, give them freedom to enjoy, to make mistakes, and really feel that love, a lot of physical touch and sweetness and listening to what they need. And joy and laughter. Yeah, I think that covers it about. This is kind of comes into my problem where I sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, if I left something out, what's gonna happen? But I think, even just sitting with these questions is good. I'm also hoping so much that my ideal partner surprises me. And an example of this is my friends. I met these two amazing women 3 years ago in New Year's, and we just really liked each other right off the bat because of what I'm looking for in a friend, which is kindness. I'm kind to you, you're kind to me. And, but then all these other little things came out that I wouldn't have known to look for in a friend, but it was just so obvious that those were the right things for me that they had. And I didn't even know that when I met them. I must have sensed it subconsciously. But for example, my best friend, sometimes my sense of humor is very wry. I'll see something with a totally straight face that just is a bit weird or impossible. And, like something like, wow, I love a juicy red burger, which is ridiculous, kind of vegetarian. And she would just immediately know that I'm joking and enter right into it. I mean, she never misses a beat. And I love that she understands my sense of humor. It's so rare for someone, even my mom, she is pretty close to get every single joke I make. And I didn't know that about her when I met her. I didn't know that she was brilliant. I didn't know that she had this dad who was a PhD. I didn't know that she was a vegan. I didn't know that she cared about social justice. I just didn't know all these things. I just knew that she was a kind, fun person who dressed beautifully. And so, and since then our friendship has deepened and deepened, and I keep discovering all these things that I value that I wouldn't have even known to look for if I was making a list about what kind of friend I want to bring in. I would just, honestly, when I go out to meet friends, I say, I'm kind, you're kind back. That's what I'm looking for. Similarly, it's funny, but a lot of the people that I've met, I've discovered after I met them that they are immigrants from somewhere in the Balkans who moved to Croatia but lived in the Netherlands. Like this really weird combination. How would I know to invite that into my life? I wouldn't. So that's where I don't want to, I just really hope that in my partner, I'll have all these things that will surprise me that I never expected. And I just go, oh, wow, he's a nice guy. And then, oh my gosh, all these crazy things. Like a lot of my friends, it turns out they speak French. And I lived in Paris for 3 years, and I didn't say, oh, I want to meet someone who also loves Paris, but they just happen to love Paris. I guess it's a little more common, but one of my dearest friends in New York, she lived in Paris like me. She loves French. Yeah. By the way, another kind of funny coincidence is that I accidentally cut my thumb. I don't know how. I was putting some hair dye in, and so I pulled out my Band-Aid, and I got Hans, and it feels symbolic because in Frozen, the one true love is the sister, but the guy, she thinks she wants to marry the prince, but then Hans is actually her good partner. So I felt like I picked the perfect Band-Aid. It was meant to be. Okay, what question are we on? In one sentence, what level of faith, spiritual alignment do you need? This is a big one. I have a very deep spirituality and faith, and I also really care a lot about science and evidence and peer-reviewed scholarly studies. I think his understanding, his ability to have systems thinking and science is very, very big value to me. And then in terms of faith, spiritual alignment, I would say I am baptized Catholic, but I don't really go to church very often. think that's a whole other topic, but it might be difficult for me if he had any kind of anything in his religion that was linked to harm. Like some religions are very anti, kind of like sexist, racist, anti-queer. If that was part of his religion he couldn't turn away from, that might be challenging for me. But I'm open to different religions. I think that, I mean, my family escaped the Holocaust on my father's grandfather, maternal grandfather's side. Both grandfathers were Jewish, and then both grandmothers are Christian. And then I became Catholic, and my great grandmother, after her husband died, became Catholic. So I think culturally I'm a bit more Christian, Catholic, a bit more Catholic, or a bit more Jewish. So I think some type of faith would be nice. Just because I feel like, especially for men, that can really help ground them. But I'm willing to participate in his religion. As long as I don't have to wear like a turban or something. Oh my gosh. All right, we're on 12. Lucky dozen. In one sentence, I asked ChatGPT to make these all one sentence so I didn't feel overwhelmed. What lifestyle rhythm must align? Health, social life, travel, routines. What does this mean? Okay, I mean, I guess I don't want him to be just traveling all the time, partially because air travel is really bad for the environment. But I would like us to go on trips. I mean, I also don't want him to be someone who's constantly in tech. So I think basically there should definitely be a big period of exercise, probably 2 or 3 social things a week, I would say. I mean, I don't want to be going out every single day of the week. I want him to have his own social life. Routines, it would be great if we could kind of go to bed around the same time. Because I like sleeping with someone. As I said, I really want us to sleep nicely together. Okay, but he can't be lazy. That's not acceptable to me. So kind of get up at a reasonable hour, go to sleep at a reasonable hour. We shouldn't have opposite schedules. I don't know the answer to that question. It's too hard. It's too hard. Is that a sign? No, I just don't think it's a great question. I mean, we have to spend time together, obviously, but I don't know that I want to be spending all day remote working together in the same space. I mean, I think one of us should have a co-working space we go to at least. I mean, I hope he's a digital nomad. That's a huge lifestyle rhythm. And I do think I really wanted to get the urge to travel and kind of whisk me off in fun trips every 3 months or so. Health is a really important one to me, actually. I really put a lot of attention on my health and what I eat. And I think I might actually do an episode on that because my nutrition has been the most significant factor in my mental health. After all of the meditation and therapy and retreats I went to, nutrition was the biggest impact. So the other thing is I'm a vegetarian, and it's for health reasons, but it's also for other reasons, which is climate, because being vegetarian or vegan is one of the biggest ways, personal choices you can make to help the climate. And so if he's eating a bunch of gross meat and fish, which I cannot stand the smell of, that is problematic. On the other hand, it would be so great if he was vegetarian, but it's okay if he eats meat. It is, as long as he doesn't make me cook it for him. All right, in one sentence, what financial worldview must align? Spending, saving, debt, generosity. Whoa, obviously I don't want him to be in debt. I would say that I wanted to be really good at bringing in money, but also very generous. So he's making intelligent choices, not enabling people who need to find their own way, but he's very generous. We're generous together, even though we're meeting when I'm in my 40s. He is open to sharing his wealth with me and trusts me with money. And I just want him to be, for example, I find that when I really focus on manifesting money, I can bring it in. And I want him to be good and at ease with money. I mean, this is something where I've had a lot of anxiety. I grew up, my mom, a single mom, had a lot of debt. Now she's doing really well and paid off all the debt. And now she has tons of money and successful company. So but then be generous, but not let people take advantage of him, I would say. This is an area I still have work to do, so it's good for me to get clear on that. And, I'd like him to help me with it, but maybe I need to get clear myself before I meet him. No, I shouldn't say that. That's not good manifesting. So I'm getting clear on it. I'm good at money, and he's good at money. But I like that. I like a guy who's good with money and knows how to bring it in. In one sentence, how do you want conflict handled and repaired? And also just about money, I want him to really understand his own values towards money and how other people function with money, just being understanding and grounded and mature about it. In one sentence, I want him to spend money. I want us to go on nice trips together and use that money. So just a good relationship with money. Knows when to spend it, loves to give, doesn't overgive. Yeah, not stingy, just generous and enjoying life, using money to enjoy his life, feeling free with money, having enough, feeling abundance, sharing together, helpful in terms of me financially, just getting clear on money too. I feel like I could have answered that one a little bit better, but maybe we can go back to it. Maybe I'll can you help me with the financial worldview question? Okay, where were we? Which question were we on? It's funny, I asked ChatGPT to give me a set of questions that ended with that were only one sentence response. And so basically for every question, they started it with, in one sentence. 14. In one sentence, how do you want conflict handled and repaired? Disagreeing, accountability, reconnecting. I want us to have open communication that's loving, and also I want us both to look at ourselves first and basically just get along well. I mean, with my good friends, we don't have a lot of conflict. So, and I think there can be a little bit of poking fun and joking, but both basically two people who are really self-aware and so look to themselves first and talk about things and just try to get on the same page energetically of who is the higher value and really have each other's best interests and the best interests of our life and our family and children at heart. So kindness. I think we're both pretty averse to conflict, but also very open and honest, and we don't let things fester and get out of hand. So we have very open communication and care a lot about each other and care about our own role in it. So I guess the way conflict is handled is first we look towards ourselves. We're open with each other, we take responsibility, and we resolve things easily, and there's very little conflict at all because we're kind and we get along well. It's easy. One sentence, what kind of attraction chemistry is important to you? General, not a detailed physical checklist. I mean, great chemistry. I want to feel at ease. I want there to be sensuality. I want us to have a healthy sex life. I mean, I do. Here's for the explicit Apple podcast. I do, I have a strong sex drive. So I want, whenever either of us want sex, that we have it and that it works really well for us. Yeah. In one sentence, what three green flags do you want to see by date 3? Okay, give me a second for this one. I need some more water. It's a big project. Green flags. He is really excited about me. He is clearly a commitment guy, and he invites me to meet his friends. In one sentence, 17, what 3 red flags mean you step back immediately? Ghosting me. I feel anxiety around him. He doesn't want to get married ever. 18. Yeah, I did date a nice guy. It was very clear in the beginning he never wanted to be married, and I just kept going. So no more. I'm getting strict. 18. In one sentence, what are your app swipe rules? Top yes cues, top no cues. Oh my gosh, I hope we don't even ever have to go back on the apps, but we probably will soon. I'm gonna get a friend to help. It's much easier to swipe when you have a friend there. Okay, yes to a bio, wants to have kids or get married, and let's see, asks me out very quickly. No cues, doesn't ever want to get married. Let's see what else. Is kind of just back and forth with the texting forever without making plans and says something inappropriate or offensive. I don't know how important that was. I feel like I've done so much app swiping. I'm pretty good in that front. But I think I can be a little bit better about going at someone just because I think they're hot when they obviously aren't looking for a relationship. I definitely need to get better about that. I mean, there's definitely some guys out there who I'm actively flirting with, and I know for sure they don't want a relationship. So I need to buckle it up. In one sentence, what are the 3 topics or questions you will vet for by the end of date 2? Come on, I don't know the answer to this one. Okay, 3 topics. I guess there would be something around commitment, like are they looking to get married, have children? I will say, their last relationship, why did it end? I think I've learned a lot of information from that in the past that I didn't pay attention to. And I don't know, the weird thing that's coming to me is their relationship to technology. I really don't think I would be comfortable with someone who's kind of watching TV or swiping all the time. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think I have some pretty, I think the commitment one is a really big one. Yeah, the commitment, the tech, and what went down with the last relationship. In one sentence, where will you, this is 20, where will you place yourself to meet him? Apps plus real life. And what is the one habit you'll practice to become the match? What? This is 2 questions completely. Chat. They wanted to make it 21 questions, I think. Where will I place myself to meet him? So I'm going to go to those martial arts classes. And so this is kind of the channels. And then I am also going to post some kind of event. I felt like with that guy who texted me, I was like a little concerned about being here in Croatia, if that's limiting me. But I don't know. I think there's some really great guys here too. So I think he can come in. I'll bring him here. Okay, so what's the one habit you'll practice to become the match? I really think that I'm going to say 2. I'm going to say getting myself ready in the morning to look lovely and just, because that's what I want to be like in the relationship. I want to be some wife who looks beautiful in the morning. And then the second thing is money and moving towards financial abundance, because I don't think that's something, it's wonderful if that comes in through a partner, but since I want that so much in him, I think wherever this goes, that's definitely, financial abundance is something to cultivate in myself for sure. All right, those are the 20 questions. Now I want to just go back here because I want to ask clarity on this 1-sentence intention. So a 1-sentence intention is basically a compass statement for your dating life. It's not a detailed checklist, and it's not trying to manifest a specific person. It's your one clear sentence, what you're inviting in, what matters most, how you want it to feel, and how you'll show up. I'm going to put all of this in the description, and you can kind of do what you want with it. So it says fill in the blanks. I intend to build a blank with a blank marriage partnership with a 2 to 3 core qualities man where I feel 2 to 3 feelings, and how you'll date show up. Okay. I intend to build a marriage with a kind, handsome, healthy, generous man where I feel loved and joyful and calm, and I will show up beautifully with kindness and wonderful meals and sweetness and vitality and joy and laughter. There you go. All right. So here was the one. I also had questions about this number 12. What lifestyle rhythm must align? Health, social life, travel, and routines. And basically, chat also gave us an option to put this in 1 sentence. We both live, homebuddy/social balance, prioritize health habits, keep daily routine vibe, and enjoy travel frequency style. Oh my gosh, this one is kind of hard for me. Okay, I'm going to just say this. We both live a really healthy balance of being at home and social. I think there's probably 2 or 3 nights a week. We prioritize eating healthy, being physically active, staying strong, learning about our health. We keep a routine that has a nice mix of freedom and structure, so we get to spend time with each other, but also we're both passionate about the work we do and spend some time in nature together, ideally a few times a week, if not every day. And we enjoy traveling about once every 3 months and occasionally spending time in a place for a long time. And he has lots of great ideas about where he wants to go that I enjoy as well. All right, then there's all these questions about night owl, flexible, early bird. I think, hopefully we kind of meet each other there. My sleep is a little all over the place. I love to sleep. I usually go to bed at 10, but sometimes midnight. Get up anywhere between 6 and 9 a.m. So hopefully there's some meeting ground there. I do want him to be ambitious enough. Okay, and then the financial worldview. I think we covered that one pretty well already. Okay, so we're going to do one more thing together. I got this beautiful notebook. I am a wild rose, and I wrote down what I'm looking for. This came to me, I wrote this yesterday in a cafe when I'm going to my cafe And it did feel like it had that nice flowing out of me. So I'm going to read it to you if you care to listen. Maybe I'll give you some ideas. And I hope that reading this to you will bring this energy, bring this man into my life. He has clarity on what he wants. It's immediately clear to him that I'm the wife he wants, and he moves boldly with no hesitation, so it's easy for me. He has a big heart and laughs easily. I feel seen and heard with him. It's easy to relax and be my true self. He has good relationships with his family, with his body, his mental and physical health. He eats healthy and also savors food so we can enjoy this together. He's open to new experiences and curious. He loves kids and is fully in it with me to support and encourage my desire to have children and raise a family together. He loves his family, his work, and his friends, but our relationship is his first priority, and our children. And he is attentive to what I need and how I feel. He brings me little gifts and organizes sweet surprises like trips, romantic weekends, and outings. We love going on adventures and trying new things together. He is tall, has a strong, muscular, manly body, broad, muscular shoulders. He can lift me and swing me around. He has unconditional, positive regard for me. He loves to play and engage in impromptu fantasies with me. His family is incredibly kind and I get along well with them. He's generous to my friends and family. He has a healthy relationship with technology and knows when to give me undivided attention. He is very sexual and sensual. He has a strong sexual health, so I always feel desirable with him. We communicate well and listen well. He is quite physically affectionate with me, and we meet each other well here. He is a commitment guy and very loyal. He is honest and authentic. He respects others, cares about the environment and human rights. He is an optimist. He is very good with money. We have as much money as we need and are totally at ease financially. He loves sharing his wealth with me. I feel happy, fulfilled, safe, joyful, grateful, sensual, free with him. He feels the same. He sees all the lovely and special qualities in me. He has a gorgeous home with beautiful windows, clean, airy, in a place I love to live. Walkable. We have a gorgeous home with beautiful windows, clean, airy, sunny, in a place I love to live, and we love to live. Walkable place. We live there and have our home together, maybe in many places. He is so kind. I love him. We are so sure of each other from the beginning. We move quickly from dating to marriage and having children. I do get pregnant and I have 2 healthy children and an easy pregnancy and births. Miracles. It inspires women around the world for generations. Our love ripples through space, time, and a million universes and realities. We have a beautiful, simple wedding with all my lovely family and friends together in joy and meaningful connection, in nature, happy and at ease. Let this be so, now! And then I looked at my watch and it was 11:11. Can you believe that? Okay, now I have a saucy addendum I added. I thought that I forgot to say this. I forgot to say this. Oh my gosh, I wasn't sure I was going to share this, but I'm going to share this. It's very easy and enjoyable to sleep with him. I sleep so well. And the sex is frequent and amazing. I have tons of orgasms. Heart. I put a heart so you can see my 11:11. And I really love writing. All right. That's who I'm becoming. That's who my man is. Come on down. Come here, man. All right, lovely ladies, I love you. If anyone watched this from beginning to end, I hope there were some things that were useful, and I'm just gonna copy all those prompts and answers and in here, and you can use them if they're helpful to you. And yeah, thanks for being here, and I wish you all great clarity on what you're seeking in a life partner. And I'm going to take all this. So the next step is developing those qualities in myself and thinking about what kind of wife I want to be.